New blessings, new lessons, new money. I'm your host, Lette Weaver, and we're raising vibes here at the Treehouse. Now, today this is my first episode, so I wanted to go ahead and explore the benefits of positive thinking and equipping you with the truths you need to transform and live this life in the best way possible. Now, we are all aware that you only get one life to live. Some are long, some are short, some are happy, and some are sad. We have the power to live this life in a productive and positive way, and the first step in achieving this admirable way to live is to first change your thoughts from negative to life-giving. Let's dive in. The culture we're living in today has done a fantastic job of victimizing people, all while putting negative labels on each and every human we interact with. We glamorize things that aren't always of true substance, and we seem to seek the ideas and things that don't truly bring us joy. We have a habit as humans to think the worst about ourselves, and we are our own worst critics. Just think about a time in your life when you saw a friend's art, listened to their music, or even watched one of them play a sport they love. One of the first things out of their mouth is usually something negative about their performance. It's like we tend to lean into our own insecurities and convince ourselves that those negative words are the truths that are attached to our lives. But once again, I'm your host, Lette, and I truly care about your mental well-being. I figured that we could all be positive lights in this world around us, so my goal with this episode is to open new doors of thoughts and truth that leads to transformation. I thank y'all for joining me, and before we move forward, I must ask you these important questions today. Have you ever struggled with negative thoughts? Have you ever tried to think positively and then failed after a few days of trials and tribulations? Have you given up on trying to control your mind and just go with the flow of life now? Yeah? Okay, well, you, me, us, let's talk. All right, so we already know that there are enormous challenges in the world that we're living in today. Like in most cases, though, it's the access to information at our fingertips that's doing us more harm than good. Like if you think about it, back in the day, let's say about 100 years ago, bad news only really happened if your neighbor came over and told you about it. Y'all know that word of mouth. And then let's say about 50 years ago, if you read the morning paper, chances are you were reading that local paper and you were somewhat aware of the bad things happening nationally. Now, if you really sit here and you think about it, we were less connected during that time, for real. And once you read about that bad news, you could then just go on about the rest of your day. Don't that sound lovely? Like, can you imagine? Like, just think about it. Like, can you imagine going to the airport today and not seeing CNN and Fox News plastered on every TV? Can you imagine that? It's difficult because if we're being honest with ourselves, today we are bombarded with breaking news every few hours, and it's impacting our brains in a way that's still being discovered. It's like this negative spiral. Y'all probably heard of it, or what they call it, doom scrolling. It could take a toll on your mental health. They've been doing studies, and studies have been linked to the consumption of bad news. It's leading to increased distress, anxiety, and depression. So with that being said, if you are willing to give positive thinking a try in your life, it would be best to limit your social media and that screen time. Now, I know it's easier said than done, but I promise the discipline will become second nature when you start to see the results of the way that your brain chemistry and thought patterns start improving substantially. I know in today's world, we're all about manifesting. So the law of attraction states that your thoughts create your reality. And if you're one of the type who needs a more divine truth, then Proverbs states it beautifully when it says that death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. Another scripture from the book of wisdom, and this right here is my personal favorite. It says it this way: Pleasant words are a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bones. This applies to the way you think and the words you say. Even Jesus himself says this in the Gospel of Matthew. But the things that come out of a person's mouth comes from the heart, and these defile them. So guard your tongue when you having one of them little negative Nancy days, and this will not only help you, but it will help others around you to feel more positive. A helpful way to see things in a more positive light is to shift your perspective, change your mindset. These words right here were spoken on a Sunday morning, and they have forever stuck with me. You can't always change your circumstances, but you can always change your perspective. Have you ever encountered somebody who just needed a little perspective shift? A reminder that they are blessed? A reminder that their lives could be a whole lot worse? Have you ever had someone come and change your perspective? For example, let's say you got a flat tire on the way to work and a family member that you're telling, they say something snarky like, well, good thing it's a flat tire and not a car accident. Now, this may be one of the most annoying things to hear at the moment, but it's the truth. It is a truth that's going to cut at your perspective, and it's going to transform the way you perceive that situation. That is unpleasant in that present moment in time. So the next time you find yourself in a little pickle, in a little bind, Nate, and you super bummed out and hard on yourself about it, just remember, it could always be 1,000 times worse. Look at the world. Look at these last past 2 years in the globe, dog. COVID, man, look. It could always be 1,000 times worse. What I want to do right here, though, I want to go ahead and shift gears and give you 3 R's that could transform your negative thoughts into positive ones. I promise you that these are game changers, and when they're applied daily, you will start to see progress after a few weeks. Now, my first R that I want to go ahead and talk about is recognize. Recognize negative thoughts. This first step is important. It's important to figure out what your negative thoughts are about. Sometimes I admit we do just wake up on the wrong side of the bed and we don't know why. Like, can anybody relate to that? Some folks may think that acknowledging negative thoughts is like rewarding a sulky child with attention for bad behavior, but getting upset and frustrated with yourself for thinking bad things, it isn't going to help the situation either. We got to avoid the mistake of blocking those negative thoughts out as soon as they surface in the mind, because running from a problem is never the solution. Try to think about the situations that have caused these thoughts. Like if you find yourself thinking lowly of yourself, start contemplating what led to that thought, because it could help. Is it because of some incident in your past? Is it because someone said something that put you down? Did you fail something you really wanted to succeed at? Like, the point of this exercise is to understand the what and why, because only then can you figure out how to deal with those thoughts. My second R would be to record negative thoughts. Be it an exam, a job interview, or self-confidence issues, try to work through those worries by writing them down. When you write your thoughts down, you'll start to understand why and where they're coming from. And more often than not, you will find a solution to soothe your worries all on your own. A clear mind is one that is capable of making decisions and responsible actions. In order to declutter your mind, you need to figure out exactly what's going on up there. Where's all the clutter coming from? Where is it? What is it for? An excellent way to start doing this is to maintain a personal journal. Journals are great when you want to revisit them good days and remind yourself of how to get over the bad ones. Y'all heard storms don't last forever. And it's nice to remind yourself of that truth when you start looking back at what you once wrote about your life. Now, last but not least, number 3, my third R is to reform negative thoughts. Reforming negative thoughts, it begins with rewording them. Like, let's say you move to a new block, a new neighborhood after you lived on the same block for over 10 years. Now, the reason you move into this new block is because you need a fresh start. You just need to start over. Now, at first, you're new to this place. You miss your old home and friends. You find yourself starting to think like, everybody here is a stranger. I'm so lonely, bro. I just want to go back. Now, you done established the what and the why. What you need to do now is reword that negative thought in a more positive light so that everyone here is a stranger. I'm so lonely. It'll become more like, I miss my old friends, but I also have the chance to meet many new people, which is deep down what you really wanted to in the first place. Changing that stranger to meeting new people. Because, okay, one of the things that we were taught growing up, never talk to strangers, right? So if you move into a new place and you already saying everyone here is a stranger, you're already doing something to your subconscious mind to keep you stuck in the same place that you're at already. You have to understand that a reformed thought leads to action, and the right action leads to the right perspective. We are all a few thought patterns away from achieving this new way of thinking, and it's lovely. I promise you, it is lovely. I'm going to conclude this with, we can't be hard on ourselves for letting our minds spiral in a negative direction. Now, the world around us, it's been shaping us this way for the last few decades, and now we have the opportunity to break the cycle. There's power in positive thinking, and by that, I mean you will achieve more in your career, you will do more productive things in your free time, and you will start to see yourself in a better light. I personally encourage you to see yourself in the eyes of God, the divine, the creator, whoever it is you believe in, rather than the eyes of comparison, self-doubt, and false exceptions that this world is putting on you. Monday affirmation stating that you're chosen to do good and be good can go a long way in your weekly life. Speak words over your life that you hope to see come to pass. Do you want success? Manifest it. Think of how you're going to get there and what it looks like when you are there. Speak words, positive words to yourself and to others around you. Be a light. The darkness hates the light, and good news is the light will attract more light. Good vibes bring out more good vibes. And as you might have heard, this is Raising Vibes at the Treehouse. And I hope you enjoyed vibing with me today. Take what you learned today and use those truths that hit home to transform the way you think. Hey, I'm super grateful you decided to join me today, and I hope you consider subscribing to the show and even sharing it with some friends who could use a positive message to start and finish their week. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch a vibe next week.